So we have Jeff Trapucha from University of Maryland University College. We have Kasia Taylor from Anne Arundel Community College. We have Helen Barker from Capital Technical University. And we have Bill Butler from Capital Technical University. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started with some questions. And like I said, if you want to ask something or you need some more information, let us know. We'll get into it. So starting off, before we really drill down into the details of the specific programs, I first want to discuss the concept of stackable certificates and program pathways. So each of you can respond. Please let us know from your perspective how the college or university that you represent uses these tools and what we mean when we talk about stackable certificates and program pathways. So more specifically, what are they and how do they help students achieve their academic and professional goals? So anybody who wants to start?
I'll go. So again, I'm from University of Maryland University College, UMUC. We realized that in the cybersecurity field, the college credential, college degree is not the only pathway to get into the field. In fact, if you look at job ads, you'll see that it will say you need to have a bachelor degree or associate degree plus these certifications. So as much as possible, we link a lot of our courses to industry certifications. A lot of the common one in the field, A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, CEH, CISSP. I know I'm throwing away acronyms here, but if you have questions, I can answer later. Those are aligned to some of our courses. Students taking our classes are then prepared to sit in for those exams. Those exams are not part of our curriculum. I'm not saying that when the student complete my class, they become Network Plus certified, for example. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that they at that point, when they complete the class, if they really study hard, they are well prepared to go out, take the test, and pass that. And we encourage students to do that. The students can then, when they go out, actually the last week of class, during the final exam week, if they want, they can actually take the actual exam, the certification exam, and use that as final exam. So that's one way my students, for example, can bypass the final exam in my class by going out and take the actual exam, bring back the proof that they take the exam, here's their score, and that score becomes their final exam score. That's one way. The reverse also true at UMUC is that if somebody comes to UMUC and say, I already have Security Plus certifications, we will give them credit for that class. They don't have to pay for it, they don't have to take any classes, they just have to show us proof that they have that certifications. We will then automatically give them free credit in their transcript. So that's the approach.
So we at Anne Arundel Community College, we have some similarities. Sorry, I have that cold. Some similarities and some differences in that our credit courses, the objectives of the credit courses are in line with the objectives of quite a few industry certifications, like Net Plus, Security Plus, that kind of thing. But it's the objectives of the credit course that come first that then are, by addition, aligned to the exam objectives. And likewise, they don't have to take that industry certification exam if they don't want to. But if they can, when they're finished a course, it's typically a good time for them to do it. We don't have the opportunity for them to take that certification if they pass it and use that as their final exam. We don't typically do that. And we also don't give credit for that certification in the first place if they bring it. And the reason for that is that we believe that the courses that have these common objectives are doing more. So the purpose of a Security Essentials course is to prepare them to be able to go into the ethical hacking or network security courses. This certificate aspect is an added bonus in some ways. So we differentiate that. And if someone calls me up and says, I really want to get my Security Plus certification, what's the quickest, easiest, that's what I need. I'm like, well, I don't know that you should take the credit course. I think you should consider the non-credit course because that's what you're driving towards. If someone calls me and says, I want to work in cybersecurity, I want to understand network security, then I would say, you should take the credit course because the time's up. So that's a difference between what we do, just in those things. And I'll limit it to that because I don't want to go on too long. We can come back to stackable certificates.
I think that's interesting because, you know, as the academic dean, I take the certificates as credit.
The industry certifications.
Right, the industry certifications as credit. But I also have 21 elective credits in my bachelor's program, so it allows them, okay, well, I've already got that freshman class out of the way, I can take a higher level class and put it to work. You know, I now have this and I have some context for the next level course. So I look at it in terms of, you know, I can go to the next level. Now that being said, I always say, nobody does it better than the community colleges. Because I can tell you the students that come to me from the community college are top-notch in the technical area. And they're exactly who I want working in my labs. Because they do it better than we do, because we're all doing it the way I'm doing it. You know, we're saying, you got the cert, now we're gonna push you to the next level. And I think that sometimes they might miss that, but they're gonna have to self-learn it as they go to the next level. They get it, they just get it at a different time. And in a you know, a different context, they kind of have to work it out. But I think, you know, both of us are doing it.
Well, and I should say I make exceptions to this. If a person came and said, I have Security Plus and I've been working in the industry, then I substitute a higher level course. But if there's someone who doesn't have experience, all they have is the cert. I know they did really well in the test prep, but I don't know that they have the hands-on skills needed for the upper levels. So there are exceptions to that.
No, we do that. There are some certs that I don't take. Always go look at your website first. There are some that I don't take because when you look at our course description, they're not quite. There's enough different that I'm not willing to do it. But if they have the work experience, I will sub something higher.
Yeah,
I'm willing to do that, but I'm not specifically taking the cert as the course because they're not apples and apples. Even when you go to the ACE website where they say, well, this course, you go and you look at the Net Plus, this year, they only call it a 2-credit course. We're all giving it as a 3-credit transfer, but it says it's only 2 credits. They validated it only at 2 credits. So.
Let me clarify a few things. So, yeah, one thing I forgot to mention is that we did give them credit, but only for a small subset of certification. There are really 10, 20, 30 certifications out there in the cybersecurity field. Only a small subset that actually match our course we give credit. And even when we give credit, that was actually marked as a lower level credit. Those of you that have a bachelor degree understand that when you go toward a bachelor degree, there are a certain number of courses that you have to take that have to be upper level credits. So this class, the credit they earn through certifications will not go to that pool. They have to go under the lower level elective course. So they, exactly what Capital Technology usually did is, they end up having to take an upper level course to substitute that.
We'll even, we'll say, okay, well, you can take a competency exam. We'll allow them to take a competency exam and, you know, they have to get a 75 or better in order to move on. I don't recommend it because, you know, I want them to know more than 75%. So, you know, even sometimes if they have the certification, I have the right to say, no, I won't take it. If I have a student who is, you know, 24 years old and he's coming to me with a CISSP, I'm gonna say, really? Right, I'm gonna want you to sit there and have a conversation with me. And even with the students that come in with the Net Plus or Security Plus, you know, if you did this 5 years ago and you haven't been working in the field, I wanna make sure you're still current. So you're gonna have a conversation with Bill or my CS chair to see whether it's still valid. So there are circumstances where I might not take it. So I encourage your students, you know, if they're going to be doing this, that they're going to do this, and then they're going to go right into school, or they're going to go right into the field working in order to support the backward use of that cert at college.
Yeah, and so
Did you have a question?
I do have a question, and this might not be the appropriate time, but I heard you state that there are 200,000 openings in cybersecurity, correct?
According to Burning Glass, the
Yeah.
Burning Glass
Is
cyber jobs report,
Okay, how many of your programs are offered fully online?
Ours are live online.
Okay,
They're not asynchronous. You actually have to attend class online.
sure, and then are there scholarships available for people interested, since it's such a high need area?
Yes.
Okay,
lots of-
where would we direct people to go for that? Do you have any idea?
Our website.
Your website? Okay,
And and I want to echo what you said about, yeah, that's what Harold said about community college transfer. So we like community college students too as a university. UMUC is a more non-traditional, I don't know how many of you from Maryland here, so I don't know if you're familiar with UMUC, but we're a non-traditional university. What I'm trying to say is that we actually give scholarship to students who transfer from community college.
Yeah.
So if they complete a community college associate degree and come to UMUC, what we're telling them is that you will not pay more at UMUC than what you have been paying at the community college level.
Good deal.
Yeah. And you know, we do the same thing. If you finish the community college, and then that's part of the partnership. You know, they have
You have to finish.
graduation rates to meet too.
Yeah.
So while we're a private college and you look at the tuition and you want to throw up, there are significant scholarships available. We also have Capital Scholars Program. I think you have something similar, you know, where it's a full ride. You know, we have fusion degrees, same thing. In cyber, they're not straight cyber. They're you know, mixed degree program degrees, half cyber, that also have full ride scholarships. So, you know, there's a variety of things. At our school, it's Megan Young is who you would contact in our admissions.
So this is just Maryland students?
For us, no, I have transfer agreements across the country, so does Maryland.
so I'm information seeking to take back to my district, but one more question for you on that. What does cybersecurity look like in education? So if someone's working in education and wants to go get cybersecurity, is it applicable right back to the school system, or are the jobs mostly outside of education? Is that too hard to
I can't
answer?
get enough faculty.
Oh, okay,
So, you know, if you have a particular skill in cybersecurity, I'm out marketing for you.
And you're talking about training teachers, or you're talking
Yeah.
about bringing in faculty?
I'm talking about folks who are working in the school system, the public school system. If they have an interest in cybersecurity but want to stay in the school system, what opportunities are there for them?
I think we.
Yeah.
Pretty clear.
Yeah, I actually did just that. I'm a graduate of Capital, and I teach computer science and engineering, and I think we need more.
In a high school, by the way.
Yes.
Sure.
And we need more teachers that will go out and take those classes so that they can bring that to the classroom. We don't have enough teachers. In cybersecurity, we have a new initiative in the state of Maryland. I'm not sure how many schools, districts across the country have the new initiatives, but cybersecurity is at the forefront of a lot of those. So I did just that. I
But she wanted,
graduated.
I think she maybe wanted to know, so they already have a degree, and they already, so they want to add to their credentials. How would they go about adding to their credentials?
I think
But
it's the
that's what
same
I
way.
did. Yeah, I
It's
did
the same
that.
way.
And I had degrees, and then I went to Capital, and I graduated with network security
But
first.
many of us have certificates.
Mhm.
Like you have a certificate in network administration, or a certificate in
The
computer
security
science, or whatever.
and-
Or you take the course that specifically prepares you
Mhm.
for the certification exam, and then there's probably a course that prepares you to teach it.
Mhm.
So, you know, those are steps. So there's lots of options available.
And then, if I could add one more thing, when I got into education, I came in through the Maryland Alternative Route for education, and my classes that I had to take were via UMUC. So that's just one of the avenues that I took. And at that time, our school district paid for everything. So I don't know if they're doing that now, but that's another avenue.
But there are state grants that are out there for students who are trying to switch careers into this field.
Mhm.
There's student loan forgiveness under some of these things. So do some web searching, check out the organizations. Davina is a wealth of information. You'll get more information than you want. She's great. She is just a fantastic supporter of this field and career changers.
To add to that, as we're talking about certifications, the organization or the body that do the certifications, Microsoft, Cisco, BC Council, ISC Square, they usually also have a program to certify instructor. So if you want to be an instructor, you can be
Yep.
Microsoft Certified Trainer, MCP, or EC Council, you can be CEIs. So there are, once you get certifications, if you're going to be going to teaching, take the next step up to be a certified instructor for that particular certifications. The other part is, if you do want to stay in the system, but you want to do the hands-on cybersecurity, keep in mind school systems just like any other big organizations. In fact, I argue that school system is more vulnerable or need more cybersecurity expert than most companies, okay, because of the number of students you serve. So I'm seeing more and more school system hiring, putting more and more resources into the IT department, especially the cybersecurity side.
Yeah, if you want to get high school, if we're increasing the pipeline, that's NSF's one of their big objectives, is we got to start as early as possible, and we can get more, the President's Initiative, get more students into the workforce in 2 years versus 4 to 6 years, and the fastest way to do that is beef up high school, yeah.
I thought there was an actual talk today on training teachers in K through 12 in this area.
And just talking about, since pathways is one of our subjects as well, so when I say pathways, I'm talking about students who are in high school being able to take courses at the college level. I'm hoping that's what this was supposed to be. Could mean other things
Well, that
too.
was excellent.
If you're not in Maryland, do approach a community college. A lot of community colleges do that. They'll allow high school students, junior and senior, to take college credit.
Right, and I was going to say that from a teacher perspective there, so in Anne Arundel County, we have our vocational schools, or CAT North and CAT South, and we have proficiency agreements with them so that the students who are taking these programs not only can get credit, they can also then get grade. And of course, we want that because that means they're taking our courses, which counts towards us, and they are getting college credit. They are taking an AP course where they may get credit depending on what happens, but fortunately, guidance counselors aren't evaluated based on how many of their students are taking college courses. They're evaluated on more things like how many advanced placement. So we're working on that. But back to when they take, one of the ways they can take it at our vocational schools, there are issues though as to the quality that they get there, because that matters to us. Now they're not coming and taking the course with us. They're taking the curriculum there on the site of the high school. So we've had to come up with agreements of what we expect those faculty to be doing. For example, for Cisco, they need to be using Cisco Academy, and they need to be not only CCNA, they need to be Cisco Instructor Certified, the kind of certification he was talking about. The same thing when they're doing the network management, they need to be Network Plus certified. In that case, we actually give them the final exam that our students would be taking in our Network Essentials course, and they're using the curriculum that we developed. So it's almost like they're taking the course, the students are taking our course, but they're taking it at the location. And that's different from when they actually come and sit in our classroom. So that's another way that educators can be involved with actually delivering it, knowing that you need to, from the college side, make sure your partnership ensures the rigor of the instruction at the high school, since you're not in control when
I
it's.
do 3 days because I'm doing a CyberWatch course, forensics or scripting or something like that. So there's a lot of self-help for even experienced faculty like myself. You know, I get out of date too. So, you know, every summer I do that. And the Gen Cyber had faculty camps this past summer, and they're going to expand that. So, you know, there are funded things that NSF does during the summers for faculty that are cost little or nothing to do. Good question.
Yeah, can I follow up your comment about pathways? Because that's been a confusing term to me because, you know, you can talk about career pathways or academic pathways. And is there a easier way to think about this? I mean, your comments at UMUC, it's not always linear. It's not high school, 2-year, 4-year. It could be workforce training and then back to college. So, I mean, you have program pathways here, and I don't even, that's the first time I've heard program pathways. So, what kind of pathways are we talking about? Is there any way to rationalize that term, which is a pretty common term in the cybersecurity field, but easily gets confused? So how do you use pathways? What do you think?
Well, I think in the
And I would-
context of
Can
my
I add
day,
to this question
Yeah.
too? What do you guys use in your programs to align those pathways? So if it's to industry or if it's to another academic institution, how do you align them?
I mean, it goes back to how you're defining the pathway. And it depends what hat I have on. You know, is it a student's career pathway? And every student is different. If I've got the one who's got the cert and in the field and coming back to me, you know, that pathway might look different than if I've got the one coming right from high school and is choosing a particular pathway to a career. I think that, you know, what I think we're focused on here, at least, you know, at this conference, is the pathways for these high school, these K through 12ers to get into this field. In the broader context, you know, that pathway depends where they're coming from. You know, if you're not coming from the K through 12 and you're coming from the workforce, you know, that pathway might be different. If you're a freshman coming to me, you have a very specific pathway. It's charted out for you. I have a perpetual schedule. You know, you can't take this until you take this. Well, if I've got somebody coming to me for certs and I've got to validate that that cert is still, you know, he's still current, okay, well maybe he has that, well, that might equate to 301, well, does he need to go back and take 201? So that academic pathway is different, but so is his career pathway, because he's already at this level doing this. So I think it's individual by individual. It's the context of what that person brings to the table. And I could group them. I could group them, you know, as green freshmen, career changers.
Career changes, yeah.
I think the word pathways right now is a generic term now.
Yeah.
I think we cannot just think of pathway means something. I mean, I think of the word pathway in the same place I'm thinking of the word program. Program can mean a lot of different things to different people.
I think you have to back what's playing to, you know, you military guys. Our primary employer is the government or federal contractor. Their jobs are well defined. I mean, you can go to their website, you can see exactly what they're looking for, and that's what keys us as to what we need to be teaching and the type of student we need to be recruiting. So a school like us, and I think for you too, it's kind of easier for us, but if we're in the civilian world, it's a little different, you know. Non-governmental, they can do what they want. They're not governed by standards as far as how they define positions, what's required to qualify for that position.
We had a student who literally is out in the middle of Iowa in farm country doing the master's program in cybersecurity, and it just wasn't relevant to him because our main customer is the government, even the schools. You know, the students are geared towards what's here and getting a job and getting back to their community. You know, go away, get educated, come back home, give back, right? Even our international students are the same way. Come here, get this, come home, and help us, you know, build our economy. So it's not, that particular master's program and that pathway was not relevant for him in small town America in the little corporation that he worked in. Because it wasn't global in that sense. So his pathway was a very different one. I can't teach to everyone in terms of pathway, if we look at it that way. I have to pick one. And I'm going with my major customer.
And that's a good reminder that cybersecurity is a really broad area. If any school claim that once you graduate you can get any job in cybersecurity, I say they're lying. And so you have to also look at who or what type of design they have for the program. And the way you see that, exactly what was mentioned, is that who is the primary customer, the consumer of this program. That's what they're targeting the degree program for. Even simple things as Microsoft Server. I mean, not a lot of people use, not everybody use Microsoft. Yet we're teaching Microsoft in some school. And I know in some school system, they don't use Microsoft, they use Novell, for example.
You know, and the way I look at it, because we're also talking about, because the students coming through our programs, each can have a unique path. So the way I advise students is this path has to do 3 things for them. They need an academic credential. Now, for someone that might be a bachelor's degree or higher, it might mean an associate degree, or it could be these stackable certificates where, now this is not a certification, this is an academic certificate. So they're getting a certificate for CCNA prep, they're getting a certificate for advanced network security. The nice thing is that those certificates are academic credits that then can fold into an associate degree if they want, which can fold into a bachelor's degree if they want. Or it may be that that's the academic credential they need. So there are at least 3 kinds of academic credentials. The second thing that they need is they need some industry certifications. Now, what do they need? They don't need 20. That means they can take tests. They need a few. What do they need? It might depend on their interests. Whether they're in the forensics world, okay, they need to go down the DC3 road. If they want to be a certified ethical hacker, they need to go down that road. And our courses support that goal. But again, it could be different. Maybe they're bringing NetPlus from their high school experience. So that's the second thing. The third thing they need is experience. So where do they get that? Again, maybe they brought the experience with them. Maybe they're able to get an internship. And I don't know about you guys, but you know, we're pulling internships out of whenever possible. And then the second way they can get experience is cyber competitions, because that's hands-on, actual work where they're applying the stuff that they've learned in class and they can exhibit that. They go to a cyber competition, and I know the regional CCDC last year, our students, 3 of them got job offers from employers who were there participating in that.
Ours do too.
Yeah.
I think one of the other things, you know, for the, you know, the pathways for your high schoolers is what they talked about, that website today. What was that called?
Journey, life journey?
Yeah, you know, what a great place to go for them to explore career opportunities, to develop a pathway against it, you know?
I wanted to go and look at that and go backward and see what they mostly recommend, because I want to know about those associate degrees. How many of those jobs are okay with an associate degree? A little personal.
I think a good thing that community colleges do is with your degree program, you actually list the, I'm not sure who creates these job codes, but the exact jobs that this degree will qualify you for. I think you may do that too on your website. And that gives a clear picture to a kid or to a career changer. Hey, I want that job, how do I get it? You know?
Yeah, and this brings up another good point. Have you been able to use the NICE framework to develop some of those, whether version 1 or version 2?
What careers?
Have you been able
Well,
to?
in order, like, so we
Yeah.
have a cyber tech cert, so it's a 1-year certification, and it's mapped to version 1. So that gives a common set of language. I mean, trying to understand the word pathway. I mean, you know how cyber, I tell students to go look for a job and they type in, you know, like cybersecurity, and there aren't that many jobs. It's like, that's because they're not called that. System security, engineering security, I don't know, just forensics. I mean, they can't find the jobs because they don't know what to call them.
And that's
So-
why sometimes the specialty areas in the NICE framework are a better common
Absolutely.
category, and then the job roles can fall under that depending on where you know, what industry you're looking at. And I know
And it's in your bag, I saw it, there's a nice
Yep.
round
Mhm.
slide thing.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I mean, students don't know what pathway to choose if they don't really know what's there to choose. I always use this as an example with my students. I have a friend, she came here to do her final interview at American to do pre-law. She was gonna be a lawyer. She stepped out of Union Station, a bird pooped on her head, she said, that's a sign. She went to the library, asked the librarian for the career book, starts going through, saw agronomy. Wow, that looks interesting. Went to Maryland, became an agronomist with the USDA, traveled the world. She was in lockdown, her numbers for soy and something else directly affected the stock market every month.
Oh, wow.
You know, and you know, she went from I'm going to be a lawyer to oh, look what else is out there. She just didn't know. And I think cyber kids are the same way. I'm going to have to sit in a cubicle and do coding. Well, that's not all cybersecurity is.
We were
So-
talking about that on the way in here. We don't really know what we don't know.
Exactly.
So we
I
can
wish
help our
all
students.
employers had to use the job titles.
So do
It
we
is
you all
nice.
use aptitude testing to drive the pathway?
No, not really. We want to do that. There's been significant talk about doing that type of testing to make sure, because again, cybersecurity field is so wide. You could be a programmer which requires significant math background to something is a cybersecurity analyst or technicians, somebody that require heavy reading, writing policy, or somebody just need to know how to configure software. So I think it's good
Aptitude
that we
tests
have.
are hard, you know,
Yeah.
because that's, if you think about it as placing you above that, then you might think of that as a positive, but it can also be a negative as a barrier.
Right, I mean, I've got Asperger students that wouldn't pass those, they'd
Attention
freak.
deficit like crazy.
Right, but I'm telling you, they are the people you want to
Yeah.
hire.
They can focus when
You
they
just-
need to.
Right,
Get
they're
that
gonna
job
do the
done.
job, they're gonna
Yeah.
show up every day, they're gonna think outside the box, but they're not gonna pass your aptitude test.
But here's why.
Well, I
Right
wasn't
now,
thinking about
we're-
passing it, I was thinking about
For placement.
as far as placement, as far as
Oh, okay.
guiding how you,
Okay.
Where you
you
start,
may want to put them in programming.
yes, we do,
Oh, yeah.
we absolutely
Yeah,
do,
yeah, we do that.
yes.
I was gonna say, I mean, the way higher education is set up in the US is that we have freshman level courses that are supposed to be foundations. That's the course that they'll take to kind of figure out, do I like this, do I like programming, do I like configuring Cisco router, or do I like to do other things? And so you take those freshman level courses, then from there you can decide where you wanna go. But you're right.
Well, I mean, we'll bring in, the high schoolers that come in, usually in their senior year, they come, they apply, they take placement exams, we have a computer science placement exam. We have students who bomb those, or they come take the one that's the night after the graduation party, and they're due on campus at 8 a.m. really,
Always exception.
But then they, no, we had a whole bunch of them, but when they're back, when they go in the classroom the first day, they have the option to retake that. And the faculty member pays attention and said, hey, this person should not be in, remedial math. They can go right to college algebra. We actually had a guy this semester, he went from 005 the first week to college algebra, and same teacher, she gave him the test in the 112, and she moved him right to the trade. He just didn't test well under those types of circumstances. So once she put him in a room with a proctor, by himself, he did fine. With the pressure off. So, it depends. That's why I struggle with overall competency type exams in those areas, because you're gonna lose some really high performers in this field if we do that. And I know the government loved to do that.
You
But
sound,
the technical certificate can be to do what you described, okay? So
Yes.
if somebody have A+, then they can certainly take the next level class instead of a computer lit class, for example.
Right. That's a competency test right there. That's a marker.
If they got the maturity to go into, do as well in English 101, to give the same time and attention to that as they give to my cybersecurity class, that's a sign for me too. Hey, I'm not gonna blow it off just because I don't care about English right now.
Well, our high schoolers that come over, we sometimes struggle getting their attention. I don't know, I would have to look at studies on that transition, because, they still have the high school mentality, and we're trying to get them to be in both worlds at the same time, and I think that's very difficult to do in making that transition, but I think that these certificates, they help. If they came to us, instead of just taking 201, they took something that led to a certificate, even though you do them, but it led to a certificate, it gives them something tangible. Exactly. You've got those stepping stones for them that grabs their attention, and I've accomplished something at college. I came out with something. So, I think that there is extreme value in doing these certificates, because it gives you something tangible, and whether you stop college and go get a job, or whether you continue college and get a job, it's giving you something that you can take to the workplace and actually get a job.
At community college, we have a lot of students where they're the first in their family ever to go to college. I mean, if they complete 1 or 2 courses in college, this is huge, you know, post-high school. So academic certificates are an excellent thing to be able to provide them. And then again, people who are in the workforce, it shows their business that they're maybe paying for this, that they have accomplished something as well. So they're positive all around.
It's difficult when you have the first generations. We get a lot of students coming out of the city of Baltimore. They're first generation, many of them raised by grandparents who've had their foot in their back. And they get a certificate and they realize they can go out, you know, once they get a pocketbook full of these things, wow, I can go out and make, you know, $50,000. Well, this is more money than they can even imagine. And keeping them in school, once they get all these certificates, is difficult. So, you know, as the academic dean, it's a fine line for me with the population that I serve. I don't want to give them too much too quickly because I want them to graduate. And I don't care if it's with you or it's with us. I want them to graduate. You know, because I know ultimately they're going to need that piece of paper. Whether they have the certificates or they don't. They're going to need it at some point in their career. Maybe not at 22, but the more of us that go into the workplace, the more vulnerable they're going to become without a college degree.
Especially during times like now.
Yes.
So I think, so we have about 10 minutes left, so I want to keep that in mind so as we wrap up here. But I have a question that we've been talking about in big general concepts and a lot of things that apply to all of the colleges and universities that we have in the panel, but I also think it's unique that we've got 2 universities and a community college here, all doing things in cybersecurity to help students achieve their goals, whether it's professional or academic. So could you quickly just provide a brief overview of the cybersecurity programs that each of you do offer, and what makes them unique to a student who might want to enroll, and then, which goes to, I think goes to your question, what are some of the prerequisites that you look for before somebody does enroll in those programs? And just keep it brief, we don't need to get into too many details because we only have about 10 minutes left.
In our school, you can come in knowing nothing. We have a pathway for you if you know nothing. You can come in if you know something. We find ways to challenge you. We have students that come in quite a bit ahead, and we find ways to challenge you, whether it's to tie you into graduate level courses, whether it's to give you special projects in the lab. You know, we find ways to challenge you. We place a tremendous amount of our students in the workforce in their junior year. I mean, they're making more than we are. And so we offer the last 2 years hybrid or all, you can finish it all online in a live environment. You know, the drawback is the live environment means you have to be in class at X time every week and actually talk to the professor and the other students and be prepared. It's not, you know, I can do this in the middle of the night when I feel like it. So, but I think it's unique. It's you know, if you're traveling the Beltway, you're not making a 5 or 6 o'clock class, most likely, if you're coming from one of the agencies. So, you know, the opportunity to, you know, listen to the course on your phone and get the job done is one of the advantages for the upperclassmen. But for the lowerclassmen, it's the opportunity to come in and totally green, or to come in with knowledge and still be challenged.
Like here, and ours are applied science degrees, so they're associate degrees, but they're applied science means you should be able to go get a job. You shouldn't have to go and get a 4-year degree. However, we articulate that both these schools, as well as another one, because that's an opportunity for students as well. The 3 degrees, one is unique in that it focuses on digital forensics. Those 3 courses cannot be taken online. At best, they can be taken hybrid because of the tools needed. Information assurance in the more classical sense, certified ethical hacker, pen testing, that kind of thing. You can take a lot of it online, but the 2 kind of capstone courses, they are called that, but similar to that, because again, the tools that you need, the best you can do is hybrid, so those 8 credits are going to need to be in the classroom. And then our network management, that actually can be taken all online, and the focus there is you come out with your CCNA, perhaps CCNP if you have time to do that. So those are our 3 degrees. They don't have any prerequisites. At ACC, you can actually come in needing 1 level of developmental English, So we have an extra gen ed so that you can actually start taking your program courses without having to wait to take that. And you just have to be math ready. So we try to be very open.
At my university, we have 3 bachelor degree programs. 2 of them are geared more toward people with no experience. So we have a technical cybersecurity where they learn Cisco, Microsoft. In that, actually, they can then specialize. They can specialize in digital forensics, specialize in Cisco networking, specialize in Microsoft, or specialize in network security. So that's technical. The second one that I have also that for people with no background is what we call software development and security. This is basically a computer science mixed with cybersecurity. They learn how to write program using cybersecurity principle to make sure the software that they're developing are secure. So that's the 2 program. The third one that I have is more on management. We call it cybersecurity management and policy. It's a bachelor degree. But we're telling our students who go in the program is it should be people that already work in the field. You know, maybe they're an IT technician, a network admin working somewhere right now, but never have a degree. They got out of high school, they went to a job and worked their way up to a system admin, for example, and got stuck there because they don't have a degree. They come to us, they take this cybersecurity management and policy degree. When they complete, we're telling the employer they know how to manage IT. So they can then move the next jump up to be an IT manager, for example, or network manager. So that's the 3 degree we have. We don't have restriction on that too. And if somebody with no experience, they want to come and get a degree, they can. It will be harder for them to get a job. All of our degrees are available online too. And we accept transfer from all community college. Even if you're not in Maryland, if you want to know if your local community college is partnering with UMUC or not, let me know. We have over 80 community colleges nationwide that we're partnering with that we accept full transfer. We are through 2+2. They complete 2 years at community college, then complete the last 2 at my university.
Good. Have a mixed degree as well.
Yeah, it was just for UMUC. Like, are you still doing the concurrent enrollment with the community colleges where they can be working on their undergrad and then the higher level classes at the same time?
Yes. In fact, we have a program where we analyze the students that are taking class at UMUC and see if they're close enough to complete their associate degree at the community college. We tell our partner community college, hey, these students is close to completing this degree. Why don't you get the student to transfer the math classes they're taking at UMUC back to the community college so that they can complete their degree?
Most of us do that when we articulate now. The community colleges are demanding it. They want their students to get a full opportunity and complete, and we want them to complete too.
Exactly.
You know, again, you know, as educational institutions, we're in this together. We have markers we have to meet. You know, everybody has graduation rates. Doesn't matter whether you're high school or whatever.
Just like they measure you by completers, how many students complete. The same with university, same with community college.
Yeah.
And we help each other in that
Yep.
sense.
And so if you graduate from a Maryland, if you get an AA degree with a B average from a Maryland community college, University of Maryland is required to accept you. So you're like, great, I can go to College Park. The problem is, most of your credits are going to come in as electives. Because, yeah, they have to accept your stuff, but you're not really a junior because you haven't met program requirements. It's frustrating. But with like these 2 colleges, this is so perfect today. We have articulation agreements, which means they go in as a junior. So,
And we match course for course, and both schools do a
Excellent.
really good job of not dumping it all in electives.
right. So you want to look carefully. If you want to do your first 2 years of community college, you know where you want to go for your next 2 years. You want to go to that school and say, I'm doing this first. I'm going to come in as a junior, right? Make sure you get it set up with them. Unless
And I actually will tell students that the school you want is that one, you know, because they're looking for policy. And I don't do policy. Everything I do is very deep, hands-on. And if you want to be a leader and you're taking that pathway, non-deep technical, Maryland is the place to go. They do that really well. You know, they have a good reputation for that. It's not our thing.
It is reading and writing. Students don't like that.
Do you know, do a survey, and I did a survey of my doc students in cyber. There's like 40% of them have a degree in literature or English in some form. They have they have a deep understanding of things somehow. I suppose if you can understand and read, you know, the classics, you could do cybersecurity, but there's a large percentage of them that have a degree in the English or liberal arts area is where they started. So it was very interesting.
That's a good point to make. The top level in cybersecurity do require reading and writing.
Yeah.
You know, the top level position in this field is Chief Information Security Officer, CISO. That job do nothing with computer handling.
That's all about policy.
It's all about writing policy. You read and write and analyze. That's your job, 7 days a week.
So
And we struggle to get the students who come out of high school ready to write in this area. It's a huge struggle.
So I hate to cut the conversation short, but we are out of time. If our panelists, if you give a round of applause to our panelists. If you have some questions, feel free to come up and ask.